You like having sex, I like having sex, we all like having sex. But what kind of sex are people really into? I'm Dr. Rena Malik, urologist and pelvic surgeon, and today I'm breaking down the top 10 sexual activities that people are into based on a huge nationally representative study. So whether you're just curious or want to know what's normal, stick around because some of these are really going to surprise you. Before I jump in the top 10, I want to tell you where I got this research. So researchers investigated over 2,000 adults, 975 were men, a little over 1,000 were women from all over the US who took part in an online survey. Now the survey was confidential and the surveying company tried to get people who would reflect the demographics of the US population based on age, gender, race, all those sorts of things. Now these people were asked questions about their sexual behaviors, what they found appealing, as well as their relationship status. And ultimately what this survey did was give us a snapshot into what Americans are doing and what they're into. Now, just a caveat, 91% of the people who answered this survey were heterosexual. So these results might not apply to everyone. So let's get into it. The top 10 activities US Americans are into. Number one, not surprising, vaginal sex. This is the most common activity. 88.5% of men and 91% of women have admitted to having vaginal intercourse and doing it regularly if they have a partner. Number two, masturbation. So over 80% of men and women report masturbating in their lifetime. And in the last month, 64% of men and 41% of women are masturbating. Masturbation, for whatever reason, gets people really riled up. So I've made content on this channel before about masturbation, specifically answering the question, or how often should you be masturbating and how much is too much? And hint, there's no perfect right answer to that. But regardless of what you think about masturbation, a lot of people are participating in masturbating for solo sex and for pleasure. Number three is oral sex. So giving and receiving oral sex is super common, with over 80% of men and women reporting that they've participated in it. I get a lot of questions about, is it safe? And yes, you can still get sexually transmitted infections from oral sex. So if you are not sure about your partner or they're not sure about you, you can always use condoms or dental dams to help protect yourself from any sort of transmission from genital to oral in terms of sexually transmitted infections. Number four, another hot button topic is watching sexually explicit videos or porn. 82% of men and 60% of women at least admit to watching pornography. Again, pornography is a super hot button topic, and I've talked about pornography on this channel many times, but you can check out my video on pros and cons about pornography. I also made a recent podcast on pornography, which goes into a lot of the data about pornography if you like to learn about that. So make sure to check it out and follow the podcast if you're not already following it, either here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform. Number five is wearing sexy lingerie or underwear for a partner. Now, this is obviously more popular among women. 75% of women admit to doing this. However, 26% of men also choose their underwear for their partner. I think this is great, right? Super easy way to turn your partner on and add novelty if it's something you're not already doing. Number six surprised me a little bit, but it's sending or receiving nude or semi-nude photos. Now, this made me nervous because in the advent of the modern technology, you'd have to be very secure with someone you're sending nude or semi-nude photos to, because God knows where they could end up. But the reality is that people are doing it. So 65% of men and 54% of women have either sent or received nude or semi-nude photos. I'm assuming this is wanted and not unwanted photos. Number seven, reading erotic stories. So 57% report they have read erotic stories at some point. And in fact, the data would suggest that women tend to like reading erotic stories more than they like watching sexually explicit videos. So it might be a great idea, if you have a partner who's a female, is to get them a book, a very spicy book that might get them interested and excited and turn their desire on to sort of spice up your sex life. And maybe you guys could read it together. And so you could talk about it and say what you liked or didn't like about the book. Number eight also surprised me, sex in public. About 43% of people have had sex in a public place at least once. I know from talking to a lot of my friends who've grown up in cities, there's really no place to go be intimate with your partner if you live in a small apartment with your family in a city. And so I guess that may explain why so many people are doing it. But obviously there's a thrill of having sex in public and maybe potentially getting caught. Number nine is anal sex. 43 23% of men and 30% of women have reported having anal sex. Anal sex can be very erogenous because there are tons of nerve endings. For men around the prostate, for women the clitoris is nearby, and again, lots of nerve endings can be very erogenous and can be very enjoyable. If you're interested in learning more about anal sex, I've made a few videos about that as well. Check it out because I talk about why women have anal sex. I talk about how to do it safely. Certainly, if you are interested and haven't explored, watch those first. Number 10 is spanking. About 30% of people have at least tried spanking or being spanked as part of sex. When you look at the receptors, pain and pleasure sort of send similar signals to the brain, to the areas of the brain for sexual activity. And so many times people can find pain a bit pleasurable, which is why things like BDSM take off for some people and are very enjoyable because they enjoy that little bit of pain with their pleasure. Of course, if you're going to do this, make sure you get consent from your partner and that everyone is okay and feels safe about it. Do not try to spank someone without talking to them about it. Even if you're asking to be spanked, make sure they feel comfortable doing that. And I'm going to give you a bonus, number 11. Role-playing and light kink. About 22% of people admit to role-playing, 20% tying or being tied up, and playful whipping about 13%. So more common than you might think. If you know 10 people, at least one to two of them have been into some sort of role-playing or kink. And that's totally okay. As long as it's consensual and both parties are happy and enjoying it, that's always fine. All right, bonus, threesomes. 18% of men and 10% of women admit to having threesomes. And then group sex, sex parties, and BDSM parties, less than 8% of people have tried these. They also found that there are some activities that many people thought were interesting that are related to sex. So romantic and affectionate behaviors like cuddling, kissing are appealing for both men and women. Men are more likely to find anal sex, group sex, and watching explicit videos appealing, but most tend to still rate these as not appealing. And women are more likely to find watching romantic movies, getting a couples massage, and using a vibrator appealing. None of this is really shocking to me, but if you were curious, there you go. Bottom line, guys, people are interested in a variety of different things, and there is no single normal way to express your sexuality. Hopefully you guys found this interesting, that either one, you're not alone, or two, hey, there's a whole bunch of things that you could try. Of course, all of these things need to have a foundation of communication with your partner. You cannot just try something new without talking to your partner about it and making sure they are okay with it and they are on board and they feel safe and that it is completely consensual. I recently started a Substack where I publish articles at least once a week about things that are related to sexual health, urologic health, and so many more things. And I think you guys would find it really interesting. Most of the reads are very quick and you can do it on your leisure. So check it out. The large majority of the content there is completely free and I'd love to see you there. And as always, remember to take care of yourself because you're worth it.